Okay then.
Are we going?
Yeah. We're off.
God, alright, we got off to a bad start this morning, to be fair, because we both woke up pretty late.
Yeah. But we're recording now, and my name's Zak. Anyone wondering?
Yeah, I'm Jack,
And
and I think the gist of it, what we're going to be doing, is just talking around the topic of mental health
yes.
and different points that we want to make, or we think are important to talk about.
Yeah. And I think we should start off with each other really. So, what's mental health to you, Jack? Because you obviously did it in nursing and that, didn't you?
Yeah, it's a long story really, but I'll try and just cut it down a little bit. I um I went into mental health nursing for a couple of years at university. It was meant to be like a 3 year course basically, but I dropped out. It was taking its toll on my mental health, and I think in life it's important to do what makes you happy. But that being said, I don't think mental health's any less important, and just because I dropped out, I don't feel any less towards it. So, yeah, I actually think, right, there's a lot of misconception with mental health, and I think people sometimes, through lack of knowledge, don't, you know,
Yeah, definitely. Like, there's stigmas in the world, really,
no, I
where
think so. I think a lot of people's opinions and a lot of people's, a lot of the stigma surrounding mental health is just through lack of knowledge and lack
yeah,
of
I mean,
awareness.
it's becoming more known now, especially like there's courses for it. Like you said, you did mental health nursing.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean,
and I think it's been taken a lot more seriously.
if you
Um,
think now, mental health, it's the biggest thing ever. Like in
yeah,
the like today's day now, like it's just as big as we've ever known it. And I think if you go back even 5, maybe 10 years, you people just wouldn't be as clued up as they are now. Um, but yeah, I just a thought. Have you struggled with your mental health, or have you had any kind of personal experiences like with mental health?
me personally, it goes back to like first year of uni. All through school, I was like quiet and a bit anxious about things.
Yeah,
But first first year of uni, some stuff happened personally,
yeah.
and it did affect my motivation. With like, I
Because
felt
you're
like
you're in your third year now, aren't you?
in the final year now, and the stuff that what I was going through mentally in first year, it did take a toll on how I was really feeling. Like,
Yeah.
do I want to carry on with uni? Do I just quit it because I'm not feeling the right way to do it?
What was it that was going through your head at the time? What was it about? Was it uni in particular, or was it other
I think it
things?
was the stress of uni and going on to something new, and
Because something you're comfortable doing, isn't it? Like the actual.
yeah, portions of it was like going through a bad breakup at the time as well. Portions of that played into it,
Factors, yeah.
it's just a thing that builds up and then it just takes a toll on you, really.
So, would you say that got resolved? Or, like, did you get any help for anything, or did you
I'd
kind of?
say I'd never get professional help like counselling or anything like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
but what helped me the most was just being open about it, talking to friends, family, just telling them how you feel
yeah.
instead of staying in a bubble. Because like the sooner you tell someone else how you feel, you're out of that bubble and you're bringing someone else in who can help you out with it.
No, I would have to agree with that. To be fair, I think.
You know, counseling's good because it's a stranger and they're obliged to not judge or anything. Their job is to help you and keep everything confidential. But at the same time, when it's with a like, let's say your mom or your best mate, everything works out like just a bit better that
Yeah,
way.
no, that's a good point. That is because I think a lot of the issue is people are afraid to tell someone the way they're feeling because they might be they might not want the reaction. They might not, like what the other person's going to say. So that kind of deters them from saying
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
But I think it's a better situation to be in when you're open about it and
yeah,
people are aware.
yeah. And it's hard to be open about it because you don't know what other people are gonna think. Because it's going back to stigmas, um, especially for men. I mean, girls probably do get it as well, but men, like, a lot of them are under this impression that you gotta be a man, you can't cry, you can't do this, you can't let anything get you down.
Yeah.
But it ain't true, man.
Well, you and me both know someone, I won't name any names, that have been through, you know, quite a hard situation and have dealt with a family member that's committed suicide.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it's such an important issue. And I think, I don't know whether I've got my facts right here, but I think suicide is the biggest killer in men under 45. I think I read that somewhere.
Yes. It goes as low as to the age of 15, suicide.
That's, well, it can affect anyone.
Yeah.
It's a massive killer.
Yeah.
And you know, I think it's so important to speak out and to really know the signs when someone's not. If you've got like a best
suicide
mate,
is up there with cancer.
Yeah,
it's one of the
like
biggest killers for humans.
It's an epidemic, really.
Yeah, I
isn't
know.
it?
And I think it's being brought up there a lot more, people, because it does happen all the time. But people are seeing a lot more when they start seeing these reality stars and that, like, start committing suicide.
Do you know what? I think, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I think people, and I'll vouch for myself as well, I think we're almost too scared to admit when we're not coping. And, like, say you're in a high pressure job, or you've got, you know, responsibilities, you might find it hard. Like, I think I was saying to you the other day, wasn't I? People are scared to, like, actually call in sick to work.
Yeah.
And I think that's not the way it should be.
No.
You should put your health and your physical and mental health first before your employer.
But some people wouldn't even see mental health as an illness. They wouldn't see it as an excuse to have the time off work.
No, I know, but
and that's kind of the problem.
That's
really.
the problem. That's the misconception that I think we're facing today, and I think it's a real shame. And I think it really needs to be stamped out, because I think with mental health, I always say, you know, it's not like a plaster. When you graze your knee, you put a plaster on it, you can see that you've hurt your knee.
Yeah.
But with mental health, you can't see it, so you're going really off the other person's, like, the way you think they're feeling or what they say.
That's the thing, you don't know how a person is feeling at all. They could be going through the worst time in their life and you would not be able to tell.
No.
They could come across as the happiest person in the world to you.
People
but you don't know what goes on behind closed doors for them.
No, I know. I think it's quite sort of relevant, the whole mental health topic, and we're doing this this special kind of podcast today.
Yeah.
I think because at the minute I've been struggling personally with you know, I felt like I've fell flat on my face by dropping out of uni and not coping with the pressures of a mental health nursing course. But yeah, I think it just, life gets you down sometimes, doesn't it? But I think you have to admit to yourself that maybe that wasn't for you, and you know, in this life you've got to do something that makes you happy. I think that's really important. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, happiness is the key. It's keeping your mind off it. Like, it's never gonna go. It's always going to be there, whatever your mental health issue is.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it's how you learn to cope with it and go about life with it there.
Yeah, definitely.
And one of those is just time. Like, time's a massive factor for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether... I mean, do you know anyone sort of closer to you that struggled with mental health? Maybe like a family member or friends?
I don't know the details, because it's not really something you just want to bring up in conversation, is it?
No, it's always like, that might be a problem though, hasn't it?
Yeah.
That might be like a taboo subject to a lot of people, and you might think, oh, do I talk about this?
I did work with someone, actually, and they just started talking to me about mental health. We just got into a conversation about it.
Yeah.
And he's like the most happiest, jolliest. He says loads of jokes at work. Like, you would not think anything of him, but he just turns around to me and says, I basically have a cry every night. I'm just like, why? Why do you have a cry every night?
Yeah. What did he say?
And he just told me about his history, about he had quite a rough patch with his dad, and he has this relationship with his mum because of his dad. There was, I don't know whether it's abuse or whatever in the relationship, but something happened when he was younger, and it's just had these effects on him.
That's what I mean, man. You just never know, do you?
Yeah.
You never know. I mean, people could be, on face value, so happy and so overtly positive that really what's going on in the back of their head's like the worst thing ever.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, I think something like this podcast, I think it's really good to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's good to get people engaged with mental health. But to be honest, I think we're going in the right direction in the sense that it's everywhere, isn't it?
Good thing with podcasts and the conversation about it is it invites other people to join in with it, because that's what a podcast is. It's a conversation. And when we're talking openly about mental health like this, anyone else in the world who has issues with mental health, they're hopefully, like something like this makes them feel more comfortable to talk about it themselves. Hearing other people who have gone through like similar stuff and feeling like maybe they should get up and realise something's wrong. Maybe they should talk to their best mate about what's going on with them, or talk to their mum, or sign themselves up for counselling, anything like that.
By the way, I just wanted to say, I think for anyone listening, it's kind of an off-the-cuff thing that we're doing. So we might be just talking about random stuff to do with it.
Oh yeah, disclaimer, we're not like professional therapists or anything.
Not at all.
We're not. Jack studied mental health, but we're not claiming ourselves to be professionals in the field. Like, this is just two ordinary lads.
I think we just
talking their point of view on it.
Yeah, personally, I'm just treating this as like a combo, just surrounding mental health and maybe talk about some of the issues we feel that are important to talk about, and maybe bring up any kind of things that we think might help or something like that. And you know what? If anyone's like listening and they think, do you know what, I agree, or if it just helps one person, then I think that's the job done, innit?
Yeah, like, just like anyone, if you're thinking about killing yourself, or you feel lonely, or you're depressed, you're sad, you got no motivation to do your work, anything like that, just realise that something's wrong. You're not alone. Loads of people feel this way. Like we were saying earlier, suicide and mental health, it's up the scale with like things like cancer and other diseases.
I think I don't know whether it's just because we're more aware of it now, but do you think it was like this big 20 years ago, we just didn't know about it?
Definitely not.
No, but I mean, do you think the issues were there, but we just didn't know about it?
The issues were there, and it was probably known about, but I don't think it was taken. It
wasn't as accepted though, was it?
If someone killed themselves, obviously that would be took seriously. But I think compared to how it is now to how it would have been 20 years ago, it is a lot different. Like, we take it very seriously in our mental health. A lot more people do.
I've got to say though, not all of the help, and I say that like with quotation marks out there, I don't think it's very conducive sometimes, because say you're struggling and you reach out to your GP for some help.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, is the help actually readily available? Because for a lot of the time they'll prescribe you with tablets or medication.
Yeah.
And I don't know really what my opinion is on medication. I mean, if it helps, then it helps, doesn't it? But what I'm trying to say is, it might be, I think sometimes the best way to deal with something is to talk about it and offer some kind of counselling or therapy service, but I don't always think that's made readily available. Often when you go to the doctors or whatever, they almost don't know what to tell you, do they?
No.
And I think a lot of these services like counselling and therapies or whatever, the wait for them is like months.
Yeah.
And you don't, you need the help kind of now. Do you know what I mean?
I suppose it depends who you are and your mental state as well. Like, not everyone is going to feel comfortable talking about their issues. That's understandable. And some people might just like to stick to medication and deal with it that way on their own. It's not the best way to do it, but if it's the most comfortable way, people feel like doing it, then
Yeah, I'm not against it. I just think if it helps, then it helps. But
yeah,
I think maybe you're not really tackling what's actually the problem. You're just kind of masking it with some medication to like prop you up for the meantime.
yeah. And
Is that a long-term solution, or I don't know?
And some people might see like the medication as fake, like it's not really you. Like you can take the pill, and then
That's what
once,
I mean,
once the pill wears off, it just comes back.
But I think unless you actually deal with the problems that you're faced with in your life, you're not really gonna resolve it. You're just gonna sort of put it under the carpet, under the rug, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So it's difficult. It's difficult to like gauge what help is best for you.
yeah,
So yeah, like I say, we as we're talking on the podcast, I don't think we've got a real structure of where we're going to go with it. But I think it's an outlet really for us to kind of like, not vent, but kind of like explore different ideas, different concepts, different feelings we have towards mental health. But yeah, I mean, I can sort of give you a personal experience I had.
yeah, definitely.
A little bit.
Let's share stories. Let's do it.
Yeah. So, and it's hard when you're sharing because you feel like, oh God, what's everyone going to think?
Yeah,
Do they think less of you or whatever? But I think unless you share it, then no one's going to really be able to help, are they?
it takes a bigger person to just share it.
So, I was 2 years in, as you know, at uni, and on a mental health nursing course, you have like blocks of placement, and you go around different areas of mental health. And I've been placed on, psychiatric wards with really ill patients, and I've been in therapy-based placements where, it's more not a ward environment, but they're giving therapy. But anyway, I kind of realised early on, pretty much like in my first year, that I kind of didn't like it. But I was kind of trying to stick it out.
You say you did it as well. What made you want to study mental health? Was it something
it's good.
personal?
So originally, I went into study mental health because of my dad.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's any secret. He struggled with like alcoholism at the time for a while. He's sober now. He's been sober for 3 or 4 years now, I think.
That's really good.
But that was kind of my motivation and my reasoning for wanting to go into mental health nursing, to try and really, it was just trying to understand it for me.
Yeah. So you can understand what your dad's going through.
Yeah, it was just to have a better idea and understanding. But I think in doing it, because I never had any previous experience working in mental health, I never had any previous experience working in care or anything like that. So I went into it very green. And I was about halfway through my first year, and I was placed on an all-female acute psychiatric ward, and I was just so overwhelmed at how out of my depth I felt with it. And I was like, God, this isn't real life, man. Like, people self-harming in front of you, people are trying to, tie ligatures around the neck, and I was really like, it was getting too much. So I kind of thought, God, I've really kind of misread this and thought this isn't what I want to be or what I want to be doing at all. But I thought I'd stick it out to try and get the degree. So I got through my second year, But this year, I started placement, and I kind of broke down a little bit because I was so like burnt out with it, and I was so low, and I was just going into placement. I was just crying every day. I was just crying.
Yeah.
So I made the decision to withdraw from it because I think you got to look after your own mental health. Let alone if you can't look after your own mental health, how are you gonna?
I mean,
how are you gonna look after someone
else's? You
else's?
went about it with good intention, like you wanted to understand more about what your dad was going through and
definitely.
all of that, and you wanted to learn more about mental health and how to help other people with mental health.
Yeah, definitely.
But like you said, you went into it not knowing what it actually would involve.
That was it. I think it was just, again, lack of knowledge on my part of what it actually involved. And I've got a lot of respect for anyone that works in mental health or is a mental health nurse or a practitioner or whatever. But it just wasn't for me, and I think the hard part is accepting that and accepting that you've kind of, I kind of feel like it's a bit of a failure, like I've fell flat on my face kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm essentially starting again at like 22, trying to realise what I want to do, trying to understand what it is I actually want to do with my life and where I want to go and whatever. But but I think it's wrong to stay in a situation that makes you actively unhappy. And I think, sometimes you have to have that clarity in your mind to know what it is you want to do and what it is you don't want to do.
I feel like maybe in your situation then, when you decided to do this course, you were thinking more about your dad than you were about yourself. You didn't.
I think that's a good assessment. Yeah. I think that's probably right. Yeah, because I was thinking this is probably what I should be doing, but is it what I want to do? And I did, and it turns out it wasn't what I wanted to do at all.
Like you said, it's like when you're in those wards where
it's a completely different.
It's a different world, isn't it?
A completely different world, and you don't understand actually what goes on. One thing, it's a bit controversial, but like I did see firsthand sometimes. It seemed like patients were coming into the ward, but they were kind of like not taking the system seriously, kind of thing. So it became a little bit almost. I don't want to say anything sort of like too like out of line or whatever. But I think if you look at the people that were really, really poorly and really ill that needed the help.
Yeah.
At the same time, there's also people out there that say they commit a crime and, it's quite a bad crime, they stab someone or whatever.
Yeah.
And they just plead insanity. But they're not really, they just stabbed someone, didn't they?
Yeah.
So it's not always what it seems, you know what I mean? There might be kind of, oh no, I mean, it's a mental health problem. I shouldn't. Do you know what I mean?
Like you were saying earlier, like
There's two sides of it.
You don't know what's in their head. There's no way of looking into their head and seeing if they do have these mental issues, how bad they are, and how much help they actually need. All you can do is just do your best for it.
No, I agree. I think that's all you can do. You can only, I think.
And like you said, some people claim to have mental health and get away with things.
That's what I was getting at. I think because of how serious mental health is and how serious we should take it.
Yeah.
It's annoying to think that people that are just bad people claim to suffer with mental health when really they're just being bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think there's a distinction there to be made. But I guess you can only take someone on face value, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. Like, we ain't got a special scanner or anything that to, like,
That's what I'm saying.
Diagnose someone with it. I mean, obviously you can diagnose people with depression, but that's from therapy and like talking to that person and knowing what they're going through. But
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how we're doing on the podcast so far. I think we've raised some like big topics.
talked about quite a lot.
We have, haven't we? We've crammed it in. But yeah, as we said before, like this isn't some kind of professional viewpoint. It's just two normal lads, just literally.
Just two normal lads who have had their issues with this topic and
Yeah, man.
just giving it our view.
Just giving a view, and I think everyone's going to have their own opinion, their own view. So what we say isn't gospel. It's just our opinion.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think it's good to share. I think it's good. Better than not.
What else could we bring up about?
I don't know. What you reckon? We wrote some notes. I don't know whether let's have a look. So we spoke about people afraid to call in sick to work. And let's say you've got like a high pressure job and you've got these responsibilities that are really, you know, you feel are quite big, and you've got an employer that's like putting all this pressure on you.
Yeah.
It's almost frowned upon to call in sick, isn't it?
It really is.
In some places, and I think that's
even,
bad.
I don't know if it's the same for you, but even when you literally are sick, you still feel a bit scared to call in sick, don't you?
Say you're like, you know, you've got the flu or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you've got like, you're just not feeling great. So you know it would be better if you just rest up that day. But you don't, do you? You're always afraid to call in sick because of what, you know, your colleagues might think, of what your boss might think. And then you think, oh God, maybe I should just go in.
Yeah.
Bite the bullet.
Yeah.
Then that has a knock-on effect to you, to mentally what you're thinking, because you just think, like, I'm knackered.
Sometimes working and keeping your mind off it can help, but other times it can just be a case where you're constantly thinking about it when you're at work still.
Oh, it's catch-22, innit? You never really know. Some people have different ways of coping, don't they? And I think if you can find what your best way of coping is, then it's probably, you know, some people might enjoy going to work. And I think if you enjoy what you do, it goes back to being like happy, doesn't it? If you enjoy what you do, that plays such a big part in your life, because otherwise you get to a point where you just dread waking up. It comes to a point where you dread going in to your job that you hate.
Yeah.
Then it gets to a point where, God, I dread getting out of bed today because I'm going to a job that I hate and I think shit. Or it gets to a point where you're thinking about it on the weekend because you don't want to go in on the Monday.
Yeah.
So it just consumes your whole life.
Definitely.
So, no, I think it's important to do something that really makes you happy. Just finding what it is that makes you happy, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the key to it, really, happiness. I mean, people find it in different ways. But,
yeah, man. I mean, do you want to talk about sort of like, we've spoke about our individual kind of perspectives on mental health and people struggling with it. Do you think you're at a point in your life now where you're content, or do you feel like you want to do more, or are you happy, or are you not happy?
I'm definitely better.
First year of uni?
Yeah. But like I said earlier, it never goes. It never leaves. It's always there. And you're still going to get your off days.
Yeah.
Where it gets the better of you. But it's just how you learn to cope with it. I've learned a good way to cope with it. And
so what's your way of coping then?
Keeping busy.
Just keep busy, and you think
keeping busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you're literally just sat in your bed doing nothing and it hits your mind.
Yeah, because then it becomes a point where that's all you're thinking about then, isn't it?
Literally. And there's no way of just saying stop thinking about it, because when you say stop thinking about it, you're still thinking about it, then you think about it more.
I think Do you know what? A good example. I was quite down the other day, wasn't I? And
Yeah.
you and another one of our friends, they just kind of said, "Let's just go out." Let's
Yeah.
just go
And that's
get
what you should
pissed."
do. Like, if you have a friend and they approach you saying that they've got some problems, they're not feeling too good, they're not feeling too well, just do something with them. Make sure you keep their mind off it.
Yeah, I think if you're occupied, you've got less time to think about the problems that are making
Yeah.
you sad or low or
Yeah.
unhappy.
It's good to show your support and that. Like, give them the text back, show that you support them, hope they're okay and everything. But if you get them out the house, take them to the pub, take them for a coffee, go to the gym with them, anything like that, just do something to keep their mind off it.
You mentioned going to the gym there, and like I like going to the gym. I think it makes me feel good. I think other people might agree with me. It makes you feel good if you're down in a hard place or whatever.
That's what a lot of people use the gym for their own therapy.
Yeah, it's just like a good place to like a release, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if you've been keeping up to date with Tyson Fury recently. Actually, brought it up yesterday.
Yeah.
But he said, like, gym is his therapy. Like, he gets up at 4 a.m. just to go to the gym, or 6 a.m. just to go for a run. Anything like that.
I think that initial push that you need to get out of bed and go to the gym is the hardest bit, and then when you're there, and then after the fact, it's like you get such a sense of like achievement and a sense of like, oh, I've done something.
Feel better about yourself.
And you feel better, don't you?
Yeah.
You feel better about the way you look. You feel better about your situation, and it just kind of gives you time to escape from reality.
That's another thing as well. Like, looks like it's good that Tyson Fury is coming out now on social media and going on TV talking about his depression and anxiety and all that.
Yeah.
Because obviously you wouldn't expect it from a guy like him.
No, I mean he's like 6'9".
Like, heavyweight boxing champion.
Kind of
like,
big bloke, isn't he?
Also goes by the Gypsy King. Like,
yeah.
You just wouldn't expect a guy like that to have those issues. And you were saying how he'd be depressed in fights, but his one aim.
Well, he went through a big kind of slump, didn't he? A couple of years ago, he went like really bad.
But his one aim was to beat his opponents in the ring, and he always thought about those aims and worked towards them, and he kept himself busy working towards those aims. But like
he's come out and said loads of stuff, hasn't he?
He has. But you got to respect him for it, because I think he knows the type of person he comes across in media, and for him to come out and with all these issues and that, like men who look up to someone like him, maybe women as well, who look up to someone like him in boxing, they can realise, oh, if Tyson Fury can come out and talk openly about it, why can't I?
In such a brutal sport as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plays with like going on looks as well, like social media, it creates this very false reality and image for people. Like, you have social media influencers who are in like look amazing in every single post.
Oh mate, yeah.
And they create,
you know what?
They create this image that people feel they need to follow.
Oh god, you got me onto this now. People, don't it piss you off, right? When all you see is people fucking flexing on social media, and you get like Instagram, Facebook. You just get mainly Instagram because that's most where you see people's like perfect image of themselves. And if you're having a bad day and you click on your Instagram and you look at someone that's like literally in a perfect kind of picture, you're just going to think whatever, because like that's just not real, is it?
But some people, they'll look up to these social media stars,
and I think that's the issue.
And I want to look like them. I need to look like them. If I want to do good in life, I need to be like them.
And they'll look in the mirror and they'll think, well, I don't look like that.
No, it's not realistic.
It's not realistic.
It's not.
It's bollocks, mate. Don't you think? Like, really, like, people will look at social media and they'll get like an image in their head of what they want to look like or where they want to be, and they'll just think, well, that's not what I am.
Yeah.
And they'll think, oh God, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
And I think that's a bad. It's like a bad avenue to go down, isn't it?
Definitely.
And I think social media is so flipping like so big.
It's good and bad. It has its pros and cons. Like, you can use social media to help people with mental health. Like this podcast, it's a form of media, and obviously the aim of this is to help, and hopefully it does.
Yeah, definitely. But
But,
I just think in the same breath, there's so many. Because it's so big now, and because it's like, okay, I'll give you an example. People would rather live life through a screen, right? Say they're at a concert, and it's like, how many people do you see watching the concert through their phone?
Yeah.
So you just like, what are you doing? They get so like engrossed in like a fucking screen
Yeah.
that it's like, it's not reality.
It isn't.
It just
No.
isn't reality, and you're. It's almost like you're doing something just so you can post it.
Definitely. That's what it's.
Do you
it's
know
all,
what I mean? It's so wrong.
It's not realistic. Like, that's the perfect way to put it. We keep saying it, but it just isn't. And obviously,
Like I'll go out now,
yeah,
and I'll try and just leave my phone. Like I'll make a point of like just not post. Like I don't post a lot anyway. I don't think you do really. We have our Instagram, don't we?
yeah.
But like other than that,
And I post a fair amount, but
we,
it's not.
you post like graphic design work, and you post
Yeah.
like things for your Instagram. I post things from Instagram, and I think we're both kind of fall into that category of we want to look like the best that we can look, or we're only posting things that flatter us or whatever.
Well, most people don't upload a picture where they look their worst, do they?
No, yeah, and I'm not saying you should upload your worst day.
Obviously not.
Obviously
no.
not. That's not what I'm saying. But like,
That's like saying framing a picture of you crying
that's
in your
what I'm
house
saying.
in your living
But
room.
what
You
I
just
am
wouldn't do
saying
it.
is maybe when you look at people on social media, or you look at their life and the way they're living, think to yourself, that's only their best day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've shared one of their highlights,
And they've set up that picture.
and it's
They've
set
found
up-
the perfect lighting,
That's
the
what I mean.
perfect clothes.
It's like a candid picture, like quotation marks, candid picture.
Yeah.
Might have taken them 25 attempts at a candid picture. Do you know what I mean?
And this ain't necessarily a dig at all social media influencers or celebrities, because obviously some
Oh yeah, look,
are.
we're not digging. We're not
Nah.
trying to like dig people out or whatever.
So-
We're literally just sort of observing.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
Just going back to you then. You said you're in a better place mentally now.
Yeah.
And you say your kind of best coping mechanism would be keeping yourself busy.
And time.
And yeah, so
Time.
do you want to kind of elaborate on that? Where are you kind of in your life now? Kind of, are you looking forward to the future? Are you happy? Are you low about anything?
I mean, some things could have gone better, or a way I'd want them to, but
Yeah, fucking ditto.
but that's just life, really. You gotta look at it like that. No one has a perfect life at all, and you just gotta deal with everything that comes, and everyone deals with things in their own way. Like, you deal with things in your own way.
Yeah.
I'll deal with things in my own way. But it's not like I haven't produced a tear in the last 2 years. Like, that can still occur, but
Are you a crier? Or are you not?
I'd say I used to be.
Yeah.
Like a bad crier. But
Yeah.
like I said, time does well for you, and you cope with things a lot better, and I wouldn't say I'm as much as a crier anymore.
Do you feel like you've developed a little bit of like a thicker skin?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so, yeah, definitely.
Because I remember you when, obviously, you had that nasty breakup, and I could tell things were kind of a bit of a struggle for you.
Yeah.
So, looking at you now,
Because
given that time,
I remember when that happened, and I thought, there's a concept to keeping busy, and my version of keeping busy was just going out and getting drunk, and trying not to think about it. But
Right.
that's not the way to.
Let me just ask you though, when you're going out getting drunk, back in when you were doing that, how did alcohol affect your mood?
Not a good way. Well, it's a depressant, isn't it? So
I just-
it's not.
I always think like alcohol or any like, you know, drugs or whatever,
Yeah,
they just amplify the way you're feeling, don't they?
yeah, they do. They do.
So
I
if
mean,
you're already down,
you can be at the beginning of the night and you can get drunk and you'll be thinking, "Oh, I'm having a sick time." But
kind of takes over you, doesn't
once
it?
you hit that late point and all the alcohol kicks in, all those thoughts start coming back to you. Then you get back home and you're just like,
It's too much sometimes. I
Yeah.
think you kind of overload yourself, don't you?
yeah,
And when you're putting things into your system that really aren't gonna be conducive to a good feeling, or you think it's a good feeling at the time, and then when you overload with alcohol
yeah,
or people that are doing drugs or whatever, I just think it like amplifies the way you're feeling,
definitely. I
and it can only
mean,
lead to bad things.
it's not saying if you're struggling to never go on a night out again, but it's just like,
Nah, that's not what I'm saying.
it's
I'm
just
saying,
to be wary of
yeah, I'm
yourself.
just saying like be conscious. You know,
Yeah.
if you're in a bad place, maybe don't drink 10 pints.
I think that was my problem. I don't think I realised how much of a bad place I was in. And I just like could just go about things how I usually would.
Yeah.
But you can't. You've got to learn how to cope with these things. You got to make some changes in your life.
Did you make any kind of significant changes around that time?
I can't really think from the top of my head, but
But looking back, you obviously you're in a different headspace now, I would say.
yeah.
Looking at you. I mean, I
Yeah.
can only go on what
I mean,
is in front of me.
it's about 3 years now of just like getting over it, and that just plays in the factor of time, just being your best mate.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, like at the minute, I would say kind of, you know, I've been struggling the past kind of month or so, really struggling.
Yeah.
But I think the best, and I think a lot of it's situational
Yeah.
and what environment you put yourself in. But I think the best thing you can do is understand the environment that you're in, know what's good for you, know what's not good for you, and then time plays a massive factor as well. And then you've got hindsight, haven't you? That you can look
Yeah.
back and think, well, actually this wasn't great.
Yeah, that's what you do. You do look back
Yeah.
and you think, I could have done so much more. Could have been so much better, but you can't let that play in your mind either.
You have
You
to just
can't.
look forward, don't
Yeah.
you? You can't change what you've already done. You can't
Every-
change where you've been.
Everything that happens in your life happens for a reason, and it makes you the person that you are today.
I like to think so.
Yeah.
I like to think so. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You can't just keep dwelling on one issue, because it's just going to take an effect on your whole life.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've spoke about sort of things that make us
Yeah.
help us cope a
Yeah.
little bit. Like mine, I think I like going to the gym. You like keeping yourself busy, and I think it's good to surround yourself with the right people. You know,
Yeah.
because I think sometimes if you get caught up in other people's shit, and you get caught up in circles you really don't want to be in.
Even let's say you haven't got anyone. Let's say you are that lonely. There's always someone there to listen. There's helplines, like dozens, that people can call. There's counselling, all sorts, and you got to push that for the people who are struggling with, who don't have anyone.
Yeah, I think it's like signposting people, isn't it,
Yeah.
to different services or whatever's available. But I think that just comes with knowledge, and I think
Yeah.
if someone's that lonely, you know, knowledge is power, isn't it?
It is.
And if if you're exposed to the help, then you're more likely to get the help. That's why I think it's good when you know, like high profile celebrities come out and they'll say, well,
Yeah.
I've been struggling. Like we mentioned Tyson Fury earlier, and the fact that he's such a like he's just a big bloke that batter you, wouldn't he? He's 6'9", or however heavy,
Yeah.
and he struggles.
I know. It's weird to think, though, isn't it, that people like that struggle. This one, I mean, you don't know who is struggling. Like,
And I think unless he shared what he was going through, other people might not have had the courage to kind of speak out
no.
or address their issues, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's good thing with celebrities and that. It's like the Fern Cotton podcast, Happy Place. She gets celebrities on and they all talk about their mental issues.
Do they?
Yeah. She's had Tom Daly, Stephen Fry, Gary Barlow, like really well-known celebrities, and they talk about what they've come face to face with mental health in their lives, whether it's them or it's someone they knew, and how they've gone about it.
Yeah.
And it's just influencers, celebrity like that. Obviously, they've got people looking up to them, and for them to come out with stories and be open about the issue, it's just such a big help for those people who look up to them.
Do you know what I think is like underrated? Just telling people it's going to be alright sometimes. That's all people want to hear sometimes, especially like myself, when I feel like, because you almost get consumed with all these negative thoughts and you think, God, where am I actually going to go from here? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Everything's fucked. And then you get someone that just takes 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes, just to say, it's going to be alright, you know.
And you got to think, where you are now, in 10 years' time, you're going to be somewhere completely different.
I know. I think the issue is, while you're in it, it's hard to see anything other than what you're experiencing at that point.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's so good when people just literally 5 minutes out of the day just to message you, pop up, or ring you, or face to face, just come round and just say, you know what, it's going to be alright, and I'll just offer you a little bit of perspective.
Yeah, especially if you know they're struggling, like, just make sure they know you're there for them. Make sure they know they've got someone who cares about them.
And I think, as well, when you're constantly comparing your situation to, say you're having a hard time, and you're constantly listening to some of your mates who are like, get cracking on with great careers, or they're just constantly talking about how great things are for them, you kind of get into a situation where you're almost comparing yourself, your life, to them, and you may feel like inferior, and it may kind of send you on a downward spiral in how you're feeling. So I think sometimes it's good to be wary of what that person is feeling and where they are in their life.
Yeah.
Because if you're just bragging to someone about how much you've got and you know they're kind of down or struggling, then I don't think it's really going to help.
Not the way to go.
I think that's just I don't even think that's intentional. I just think it's just lack of thought on some people's part that maybe, you know, just ask how they're feeling. See what's going on in their life. How can you help them?
Yeah.
I think people now, well, yeah, I think people they can be quite self-centered, can't they? They focus on what's happening in their life. But I think if we just helped each other out a little bit, maybe people wouldn't feel so like lonely and helpless with how they're feeling. Do you know what I mean? That makes sense to you?
Yeah, definitely.
Chat about it, like, you know, I think if you can
maybe that's what's missing from a bit, like just having a chat about it.
I think
a lot of
it's
people
such a taboo subject, isn't it?
A lot of people are scared to talk about it, I think
this is the first. I've got to be honest, I think I've not had many conversations regarding mental health, you know, with my mates or whatever.
Nah.
So I think it's almost. I think you'd be surprised if you were to grab someone that's close to you, a friend that you hang out with or whatever, and you just open up for like 5-10 minutes. Just literally just share what you're feeling, what you're actually feeling.
Yeah.
Not about what's like what everyone else is doing. Or don't try and bullshit one another and say, yeah, it's going great when it's not.
Be realistic.
Just be real, man. Just stop
Be
flexing
real.
on social media and just be real. For
Be
a minute,
real.
stop looking at everyone flexing.
Don't compare yourself to others. Be real with yourself. Be true to yourself and find your happiness.
And I think that's all you can do.
Yeah.
I think if people are just a bit more real about when they say something to someone or their feelings towards someone. Like, how often do you hear it when you go, oh, you alright, how you doing? And you go, yeah, I'm alright, man. You might be fucking through the floor, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might not be alright. So I think if you can break down that barrier, or if we can kind of get across that message to one person, then I think then it's been a successful
definitely
go at podcasting.
Well, I think we've gone across everything
I think so. I think we've touched
wanted to.
I think we've touched all kind of bases, haven't we?
Yeah, so I think we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to end it. I think, like you said, you know, if this just hits one person,
Yeah,
then I think we've done a job there.
definitely. So hopefully it's helped everyone. Again, we're not professionals. This is all our opinions, thoughts, and advice. But hopefully we've helped someone today. And thank you for listening.